So you've written a program, downloaded it to your robot, and hit run, and your robot's not doing what you think it should. The point of this video is to give you a list of reasons why you might find yourself in this situation. The first thing worth checking is to make sure that you've connected all your motors into the correct ports and all your sensors into the correct ports. Usually people don't disconnect their motors much after building a robot, but people do often add and remove sensors. For your sensors in particular, be sure to look at your blocks and confirm they're plugged in correctly. For example, if I grab a wait for light block and put it up here, you'll see that the wait for light block expects my light sensor to be plugged into port 3. And if for some reason I either had changed the port on here or I plugged my light sensor into the wrong port, my program probably won't work. Another thing to confirm is that you're actually running the correct program. Check the name of the program on your computer screen and make sure that it actually matches the name on your NXT screen, keeping in mind that the NXT can only display the first several letters of the name. We covered this issue in detail in the potential pitfalls lesson in week 3, but the quick fix, if you just want to make sure this isn't happening to you, is to just turn your robot off and then turn it on again. It's also quite common for people to have problems when they try to display multiple images in a program, or when they want to end a program with an image on the screen. If you find that images seem to be missing when you run your program, it may be the case that your images are being displayed, but they're being displayed and then cleared away so quickly that you don't actually have a chance to see them. For a full explanation of what's happening, go watch the More Pitfalls lesson. Another reason your program may not work is due to blocks that aren't correctly placed on the sequence beam. So I'm going to try and mess this up, and it's very hard to intentionally mess this up, but let's see if I can do it. I'm going to grab this move block and see if I can stick it somewhere. There you go. That move block is not in my loop. It's not outside my loop. It's not on the sequence beam. It's just kind of hanging out. And okay, it's pretty obvious, but you can imagine that under certain circumstances, you kind of move stuff over and it looks maybe sort of like it's in the loop, but it's not. You get the idea. Of course, it's also possible that you actually have an error in your program and the way you wrote it. One really good way to check for errors is to try and talk through your program block by block with someone else. Remember back to that peanut butter and jelly example from week 1. Try your best to specify what each block does as slowly and carefully as possible in very simple language, as though the person you're explaining it to is a robot with no common sense who takes everything very literally and needs to have everything specified completely. And then occasionally, my only diagnosis for a program that doesn't work is sunspots, as in, really this looks totally right, but it's not working. Usually my solution for a case of sunspots is to start a new program and write it again from scratch. Seriously, start a brand new empty program on your computer, print out your old program or display it on a second computer while you re-enter it as a new program. 99% of the time, that'll fix it. Why does that work? Well, when everything looks perfect but it's not, I think it's often the case that there's a problem with a block not being correctly placed on the beam. And while it looks fine, it's really not. So if you just rewrite the same program from scratch, it sometimes works. It's not a satisfying solution by any means, but it's certainly worth trying. And again, let me remind you, one of the nice things about working with Lego is that you can call their tech support people. So if none of this has helped you, they may be able to help you figure out what's up.